Morgan Freeman,
Ooh, Lord Jesus.
Oscar winner, Morgan Freeman. My favorite movie, Lean on Me. Another
Mm-hmm.
favorite, Shawshank Redemption.
Mm,
So many great films. Amazing actor. Amazing actor.
definitely.
Over the past few years, he has spoken out about his rage around Black History Month.
Mm,
And every time he does this, right wing media just falls in love.
mm-hmm.
Headlines, headlines, headlines. Morgan Freeman cannot stand Black History Month. He just can't stand it. Blah, 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 blah. And he makes some of the talking points that I've even heard folks say in our community. Why we
Mm.
only get 1 month, why we only get the shortest month of the year.
Oh
They just
gosh.
gave us that month. They just gave us that month. And one of the things I learned doing my book, The Grift, was that when I was writing it, Reese, I was like, well, I think people already know this stuff. Do I have to
Right.
put this in here? And
Mm-hmm.
what I realized, some of the basic things I wrote in The Grift, people did not know at
I
all.
told you that. I told you that.
You did. Before it came out, you were like, Clay, a lot of people don't know this stuff.
I didn't
So
know a
what
lot
I
of the stuff.
realized, say it again.
I didn't know a lot of the stuff. I was
Right, right,
like,
right,
wait a
right, right.
minute, what's going on?
So what I realize is that, respectfully, Mr. Morgan Freeman does not know the history of Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
So I doubt this will not get the traction that Morgan Freeman's comments made. But if you're out there watching, listening online, or on YouTube, or whatever the case may be, a clip, hopefully this will provide a little bit of context. Morgan Freeman said in Variety just recently, this article came out a few days ago, quote, about Black History Month. I detest it. The mere idea of it. You are going to give me the shortest month in a year, and you are going to celebrate my history. The whole idea makes my teeth itch.
Mm.
It's not right.
Sure.
All right.
Teach the people.
Black History Month was founded by Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson, born in Virginia, born to formerly enslaved parents. His mother was literate. His father couldn't read or write. His mother taught him to read or write. Carter G. Woodson, who went to Frederick Douglass High School, later in
Mm.
West Virginia, and then would go back and become a principal at that high school. I'm not going to go into the whole amazing career of Carter G. Woodson, who also was a dean at Howard for a brief period of time, as far as the
Mm.
liberal arts section of Howard. He went to Harvard. Just amazing educator, Carter G. Woodson.
Yeah.
So he is the founder of Black History Month. But let me tell you how it began. Carter G. Woodson was at Harvard, and he had a history teacher named Edward Channing. Real demon, real
Mm.
gargoyle, just a
Mm.
horrible, racist teacher, right? Carter G. Woodson is in this classroom, I believe the only black man in the classroom at Harvard. And he hears his history teacher say, Edward Channing, who is considered like one of the icons of American history. This is a quote. He said, the Negro has no history.
Ooh.
That's what Edward Channing says
Mm-mm.
as Carter G. Woodson's in this class. Carter G. Woodson says, what? Hold up. What happened?
No, say what now?
Raise his hand, and he says, no people lack a history.
Mm.
He responds to the Professor Channing. And you know what Professor Channing says to Carter G. Woodson? Prove it to me.
Oh, no, he didn't say that. Okay.
And Carter G. Woodson said, oh, okay. This is a challenge. Bro, I'm from deep poverty. My parents were formerly enslaved. You want a challenge? Okay, feel like you want to go, let's go.
Mm.
It was that moment in Carter G. Woodson's life that he made this commitment that we must teach Black history.
Yeah. Now, when
He
was this?
said
What year was this?
this was in the 19 teens.
Okay. Okay. Mm.
So he said, I'm going to make sure that it is my mission to prove this gargoyle wrong, to
Mm.
prove this devil wrong. It's my mission to do this. How dare you say that? How dare you? So, in the 19 teens, he's one of the founders of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History.
Mm.
Carter G. Woodson, Andrew L. Jackson, and Dr. George Cleveland Hall. The other two you may not know, but they are the founders of the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. All right?
Hmm.
By 1926, they create Negro History Week. So mind you, Carter G. Woodson in his mind has this devil teacher telling him the Negro has no history. And so he literally, this is his life's work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in doing this, he's digging through archives. He's working with other people to gather all, because it wasn't accessible. Now, you do have the work of Du Bois and other people, but much of the shit that you're learning is the lost cause narrative. For folks who don't know, the lost cause was a narrative after the Civil War to try and rewrite the history of the Civil War that, these enslaved people were happy. They were doing okay. It was about states' rights. It wasn't about slavery. All that bullshit. Then the Daughters of the Confederacy wrote much of the textbooks. He's fighting back against all this. So Negro history launches, and it goes viral, if you will. It goes viral for the time. There's a big convention around it. And he chooses a particular time of the year. He chooses mid-February. Why does he choose mid-February? Because it is the birthday of my man, Frederick Douglass, and also the birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln is problematic, but folks don't know this. In the 1920s, that was already a time span that Black folks would celebrate. We don't do that anymore. But during this second week of February, that was when there was a lot of celebration.
Okay. Yeah.
To commemorate the birthday of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, kind of like how we do Dr. King, right? This is already a time of celebration. So the reason why Carter G. Woodson chooses this time isn't because it's the shortest month of the year. No. It's because this is what Black folks were already doing. And what Carter G. Woodson didn't like is that y'all are celebrating these two, not knowing their history. You're with me?
Yeah,
You
I'm
see what
with
our man
you. You
Carter G.
making it make
Woodson was
sense.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
If they would have been born in mid-October, then that would have been Black History Month. Because he was going with how people were already celebrating. This is really important. But it goes viral, Negro History Week, and he specifically gears it to young people, to young Black people. This starts every year. It gets bigger and bigger. It's in Black churches. It's in Black schools. It's in the Deep South. At one point, it's even going into white schools by the 1930s, according to Carter G. Woodson. And part of the reason why it blows up is because the Black media of the time, they pushed it. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, who I assume is one of the greatest of all time, he wrote this: perhaps the greatest single accomplishment of the Black artistic movement of the 1920s was Negro History Week. Du Bois said it.
Okay.
Mr. Freeman. Du Bois says it.
Hello.
It was a movement. And also what was really cool about it is that there would be new findings every single year. This is the construction of Black history. This is before, the civil rights movement. This is before Bayard Rustin and Dr. King and A. Philip Randolph and Fannie Lou Hamer. This is before all of that. Those are the core things you learn about today, but there's new findings. They're like anthropologists. They're doing deep research trying to find the truth from this bullshit lost cause narrative. Carter G. Woodson passes away in 1950 at the age of 74. But people who knew him and other educators wanted to carry on his legacy.
Yeah.
And they said, we should expand this Negro History Week. So Carter G. Woodson dies. 19 years later, we get Black History Month, and of course, the word changes from Negro to Black because of the Black Power movement. And
Yeah.
I hope we all know that history. If you don't, look it up. That's too long, but the word evolves, right? And it is due to Black United students at Kent University that they officially make Negro History Week Black History Month. 19 years after his death. Black United students at Kent University.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we get Black History Month. Then, by 1972, the association that he founded, which changed their name from a Negro to the Association for the Study of Afro-American Life and History, they began to campaign for it to be recognized nationally because they wanted to see to it this history got into the schools. Under Gerald Ford in 1976, it was the first official observance of Black History Month. So, Mr. Freeman, nobody gave us this.
Mm-hmm.
This was decades and decades of advocacy. Decades of it. And it shouldn't mean that you only teach Black History Month in February. You should teach it year round. But to say we don't need it or we detest it is ridiculous. And I want to also add, the reason why it pisses me off is because you never hear any other community say this.
No, you don't.
In 1978, National Women's History Month began in March.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever hear women say, why do we got to have a Women's History Month? And it's not just Black people. In 1989, National Italian American Heritage Month was recognized by Congress. 89. 1990, National Native American Heritage Month was signed into law. 1991, Irish American Heritage Month signed into law for March. Native American Heritage Month is in November. Nearly every, I know the white is silent, so when you hear Irish or Italian, you're thinking that's not what, but it is. They ain't celebrating, for the most part, Black Italians or
what's the guy
Black
named
Irish.
Enrico on NBC?
Right. But every community has this. So why do you detest it? So and what it does, respectfully to Morgan Freeman, it just gives bait. Because if Morgan Freeman says it, then we should all despise Black History Month. No, it was created, it was founded, it evolved, all because of Black people. And Carter G. Woodson, in my humble opinion, would be so mortified at the rollback of Black history, at the banning of books. He would be disgusted by it. And this week, the South Carolina Department of Education canceled an AP Black Studies course.
Yep, sure did.
But this Black History Month is literally a part of Black history.
Literally.
Reese Colbert.
I mean, you very nice, respectfully. I don't know if I could be as respectful as you because it's just pure fucking ignorance at this point. It's too many times you done said this, and you too old. You too old, and I know at least some of this. So what is it? Is it pandering to the white gaze? Is it internalized anti-blackness? Is it trying to assimilate? Like, I'm trying to figure out the mindset behind thinking that Black history is something that's like we're being relegated to. That's not something that is subservient or something that is less than, I guess, what you would call the umbrella of just American history. There's no lower tier when you're talking about American. Black people are not a lower tier of American. We are the tier. Okay. We built this country. And despite the fact that we built this country, we still have to fight for our proper recognition, for the recognition of our humanity, for the recognition of our contributions. We have to fight each other to say, let's recognize what is great about us. So I'm just like, I'm at a loss for why you continue, or why he continues to run with this narrative. If you detest Black history, you detest yourself, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get it. The Black will never be silent for white people the way that white is silent when they say people. It's white people. When they say history, it's white history. That implicit personhood is never going to be Black. It's never going to be Black. So that, if that's what you're aiming for, if that's what you're trying to attain, is that somebody will equally think Black versus white if you just say people, or if you just say history, that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen, Captain. And I'm actually okay with that, because I think that our Blackness is something to be celebrated. It's something to be embraced. The same way that people have a certain zeal of trying to oppress and denigrate us, we need to have an equal amount, and actually more zeal, of celebrating and loving ourselves in all of our glory. So I don't know what he got going on, but it's very ignorant, it's inexcusable, and he needs a history lesson with Clay, obviously, and anybody else tempted to take what Morgan Freeman is saying and run with it. You have been schooled, okay? And I just hope that people take the lesson instead of being belligerent. I understand if people don't know the history,
Don't know.
but now
Absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So don't say
Right.
that dumb shit again, please.